For a summer getaway, you may have noticed airline prices are climbing, but don't get discouraged. There are still deals to be had. Joining us from Scott's Cheap Flights is Scott Keyes. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So we have a lot of questions because we suspect there are some deals to be had. I want to go big. I want to jump the pond. What about flights to Europe? Let's start there.
Yeah, look, international travel is still down about 61% compared to pre-pandemic levels. And so what that means is that all those families and students and teachers who are normally taking advantage of the Europe summer season just aren't this year. They're traveling domestically. And what that means is that not only are you seeing great deals, flights out of New York just in the past 2 weeks alone to Lisbon for 318 round trip,
What?
Germany 320, even all over France for 336 round trip. So not only are there these amazing deals, but as somebody who just was in Spain a few weeks ago, it is devoid of tourists right now. You have this rare opportunity to be in Europe in the summer without any of the summer tourist crowds.
So these inexpensive, you said three something to Spain, Portugal, that's for the summer? These flights are
That is
now
for
current?
summer flights. We are seeing fares still as low as for late summer, late August, early September, as low as 318 bucks round trip to Portugal, 336 round trip to France. It is unbelievable, and fares like this that I wouldn't expect to see in future summers.
Obrigado. Practicing my Portuguese. Okay, that like totally piqued my interest. Okay, let's go back to the lower 48. Parks were a big thing last year because I think a lot of folks were like, oh, let's do some outdoor activities. What's happening with Montana, Glacier National Park? Is that a place to head to this summer? Are there any deals to be had?
Yeah, and look, Montana's one of those that you were absolutely right, was super popular last year. I kind of expected it to become a little bit less popular as people ventured out more. That's not been the case. It is still incredibly popular, and you're still seeing great deals there. Flights nonstop from New York City to Bozeman in Montana for $177 nonstop round trip. But what's been interesting is that the airlines have really increased how much they're flying there. Flights to New York City right now are down 36% compared to pre-pandemic, but flights to Montana are up 25%. And so what that means is that all those extra airline seats are resulting in lower fares for folks who are hoping to travel to Glacier or Yellowstone or one of
Right.
the other great parks.
Although I did do some research and I know that the parks are getting flooded with people. So if you do decide you want to go to one of these, you got to get to the parks early because unfortunately some people were getting turned away. But another place that piques my interest, Alaska. I can't imagine that there are affordable prices to Alaska.
That's right. Normally it would cost to fly from New York City to Alaska, especially in the summer, which is one of the, main times that tourists might be interested in going. Usually you're going to expect to pay five, six, $700. Again, right now with airlines flying far less internationally than they had pre-pandemic and instead flying much more to places like Alaska and Hawaii, we saw fares recently from New York City to Alaska under $200 round trip, 196 bucks round trip to Fairbanks, which is one of the most beautiful parts of the state. So again, if you've had Alaska on that bucket list, this summer is very likely one of going to be the best times to find cheap flights there.
I am incredulous at these prices that you're telling me. So I've always wanted to go salmon fishing in Alaska. So this next place, you have to really like the heat. Florida. Listen, Dan Manarino just went to Florida. I don't know how much he paid for a flight, but what are you seeing?
Look, Florida, it's not my favorite, but I love it anyway. It is one of the most affordable getaways out of New York City, even though it's not exactly close. We see regularly flights down to either Fort Lauderdale or Miami as low as 97 bucks round trip out of either Newark or JFK, sometimes even out of LaGuardia. So that's one of those places that you can always hop to, even on last minute notice. And be able to get a nice little kind of warm weather getaway, especially as it starts to get cold into the fall and winter.
Right. And if we head a little bit further south into the U.S. Virgin Islands, it's hurricane season, but I reckon people still want to go. Cheaper flights?
That's right. So it is hurricane season, but if you can avoid when the bad weather comes, it's actually one of the most beautiful times to be there in the fall. Oftentimes you see great weather, mild temperatures. Recently, we saw flights from JFK down to St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands for $223 nonstop round trip. Those are popping up far more regularly than they had pre-pandemic. And so again, if the USVI is on your list, now is the time to be finding those cheap flights there. I think they're far cheaper now than they had been previously.
Scott, who's your friend? Can we see? Can we?
This is the cat Nips. She loves to hang out, especially when I come on TV. She hears my voice and then just says,
She can't
"Oh, it
resist.
must be playtime."
It's my daddy. Hi.
Doesn't understand the concept of live TV apparently.
I love it. I'm here for it because what's your cat's name?
Her name is Nips. Nips the cat. She's a wonderful 12-year-old cat, and we love her dearly.
I love it. I love it. Before we say goodbye to you and Nips, what about, should we book now for the holiday travel? I may want to drag my family somewhere for Christmas.
Absolutely. Look, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give folks is if you're hoping to travel during a peak travel period, always book opposite season. In the same way that swimsuits are going to be cheapest in the winter and those jackets are going to be cheapest in the summer, so too with flights. Now is the time to be thinking about those Christmas and New Year's flights.
Fantastic. Scott, to you and your kitty, thank you so much. I still can't believe how affordable those flights are. Thank you so
We're
much.
out here preaching the gospel of cheap flights. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.